Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in here today to talk to you about Steve Harvey. And let's just get started. So if you don't know what happened on Steve Harvey's show this past Friday, and that's Steve Harvey Morning Show, that's his radio show, they discussed the video that Snoop did. And he also addressed the comments that were made by T.I. and Bow Wow. And basically what Steve Harvey is telling these three men is that you better watch out because you guys have money. Basically, he said that there is an office in the country called the Office of the Presidency, and that we all need to respect it whether we like it or not. Now, he also went on to say that, the comment made by Bow Wow about the president's wife was totally out of pocket. He says that when you come for a man's wife or a man's family, if you think they were upset about you just talking about them, when you come for their family, it almost enrages them. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is basically Steve Harvey just came off of, all that backlash from him visiting Trump at Trump Tower. He was on his radio show moaning and whining, and he was on his TV show moaning and whining about the backlash that he got from the black community. Now, it's been a few weeks, couple months since, that backlash, and the flames were starting to die down. Now, this comment that he made Friday has fanned the flames again, and people are gossiping and mad at him again for speaking on what Snoop did. Now, let me just talk about Snoop, Bow Wow, and T.I. Just like Steve Harvey has the right to say what he wants to say, those three men do too. Because the beauty of it is we live in a country that freedom of speech is one of our rights. Now, in the next 4 years, we're going to be hearing that line quite a bit. And the reason why we're going to be hearing that quite a bit is because we have a fucking asshole in the White House. This asshole that we have in the White House is like a big teenage boy. Whenever someone talks about him, he gets upset and he goes to Twitter and he sends out a tweet because people are picking with him. You guys have to remember, we are talking about a 70-year-old man. Donald Trump is 70 years old. Now, contrast him to our past president, President Obama. Think of all the things that were said and done to him and his family. We saw people make stuffed dummies of him, put a noose around its neck, and hang it from a tree. We saw them and heard them talk about his wife, how ugly she was, how she was an ape in heels. We saw them sexualize his daughters, say little nasty sexual things about Malia and Sasha. We saw them talk about the way that Malia and Sasha dressed, called them little whores, all kinds of stuff. Even when President Obama was in chamber speaking to Congress, we heard a man yell out, "You lie." They blocked everything he did, talked about him like a dog, went on and on about that he was a Muslim and that, he wasn't born in this country. All of that. But we never saw President Obama on television moaning and whining about what somebody said about him. We never saw tweets come from the POTUS Twitter account, responding to something someone said about him on Twitter. And you know why? That's because President Obama was a grown-up, a man with class, and who, even if things bothered him, he didn't show that it did. Because let's face it, he withstood quite a bit in those 8 years that he was in that office. And I don't remember Steve Harvey coming this hard to the defense of President Obama every time someone talked about him. You had a whole news network, Fox News, that, you know, had plenty to talk about for 8 years because they spent those 8 years discussing how bad President Obama was. We didn't see Steve Harvey on his radio show defending President Obama every time. But for some reason, he felt it was his duty to chastise Snoop, Bow Wow, and T.I. Now, we may not agree with, you know, what Bow Wow or T.I. said, and you may not even be down for the video that Snoop did. But let's face it, they have a right to freedom of speech, and they have a right to express themselves in whatever manner they choose to. Also, I look at it this way. Steve Harvey is a man, and T.I., Bow Wow, and Snoop are men too. Who does he think he is, telling another man how to conduct himself? What he needs to do, and I'm speaking of Steve Harvey, is mind his fucking business. You know, if they're not worried about someone coming after their coins, because he also said that, if they don't watch out, someone will come for their coins. Let's not forget they're rich celebrities. Hey, if they aren't worried about someone coming after their money, then, that's on them. And then to even bring that up would suggest that if someone talks about Donald Trump, he's going to sue him every time for slander. I mean, think about it, y'all. Doesn't he have enough to do with running the country than to be worried about what someone said about him? That is so fucking stupid. And then for Steve Harvey to even, bring it up after all the backlash that he just went through with going to to Trump Tower. I would have left that one alone if I was him, especially if he said that we came for him and he didn't appreciate us coming from him. Then let this one go then, Steve. Don't don't wade into that. Snoop can handle himself, and T.I. is handling the shit out of himself with the tweets that he puts out. And Bow Wow doesn't seem to be worried that he talked about the president's wife and said he would pimp her out. He didn't seem to stutter when he was putting that tweet out about that or saying that. Now, like I said, we may not agree with what those three men said or did, but we all can agree that in America, we have the right to freedom of speech and a right to express ourselves. The problem is, like I said, is we have a simpleton in the White House, a big spoiled orange baby. That every time somebody says something about him, he's going to be whining and bitching and moaning. The problem is not with T.I., Bow Wow, and Snoop. The problem is with our fucking president. He should be so busy figuring out, how to run the country, getting his cabinet together and all that, because the motherfucker doesn't even have all of his cabinet people appointed. He should not even have time to worry about what some little rapper is saying about him. He's supposed to be the most powerful man in the fucking universe. Let him tell it. Y'all, we have gotten to a place in this country fucking with this man that we got in the White House that as an adult myself, this is like play school time. I feel like I'm talking about some teenagers who got in an argument. And then to show you how stupid and immature Donald Trump is, we just had the fucking chancellor, I think that's what the bitch's title is, from Germany, Angela Merkel, come all the way to the United States to visit this asshole that we got in the White House. The woman gets here and they have a press conference. And in the press conference, the reporters, they said, well, aren't you guys going to shake hands? And Trump ignored them. You see the lady, bend over and say something, and you could tell what she's saying. You could read her lips. You want to shake hands? He totally ignored that woman. He acted like she was not even speaking to him. Now think about it. Germany is not our enemy. They are one of our closest allies. And we're now alienating them. Why is he doing this? And then the lady just sat there stunned. You know, I'm wondering if she had put out her hand, for the handshake, would he have left her hanging? He's such a fucking self-absorbed asshole. And for Steve Harvey to continue to defend him, I just don't understand it. What Steve Harvey needs to do is mind his fucking business. Donald Trump can handle himself. He's on television, blasting the media, saying they're fake and, don't believe this person, don't believe that. I ain't talking to Russia, blah, blah, blah. He can handle himself. He don't need Steve Harvey, big lip ass. Steve Harvey needs to back up, stay in his lane, because the lane that Snoop and Bow Wow and T.I. were in, they didn't ask for, advice from Steve Harvey on how they should conduct themselves as men. First of all, y'all, I think it was, a little presumptuous of him to tell them how to act, and they're men just like he is. I guess he was telling them as one businessman to another, you might want to check yourself. This man might come after y'all. But see, a lot of black people out there, you know what they're saying? They're saying, calling Steve Harvey once again a house nigga, and saying stuff like Steve Harvey is that house nigga that runs and be like, y'all better act right. The boss watching y'all. He gonna come get y'all. Master Trump gonna come get y'all. Y'all better behave yourself. I'm trying to tell y'all. See, stand in your lane would not have people talking about you again, Steve. You know what? If I was Steve and T.I. and them wanted to show their asses and Snoop and Bow Wow, I would be like, fuck them. Let them do what they want to do. I wouldn't even be worried about it. And that's why now, I was sitting here and I was like, wait a minute. When it said like people are blasting Steve Harvey, I thought this was going to be something that, I might have scrolled over that was from a couple months ago. Then I was like, no, he talking again. Shut your fucking mouth, Steve, so people will leave you alone. For you be on television with your lips trembling again, trying to cry, squeezing out fucking tears. Like I said, the beauty of living in this country, even though, some of these rights they tell us we really don't have, but the beauty of it is supposed to be that we have freedom of speech, freedom to express ourselves, meaning that we can say whatever in the fuck we want to say about whoever. Now, if we got a president that's going to be suing everybody that talks about him, then he might as well just come on out the White House and go sit in the courtroom and just bring him some clothes and furniture and, set up shop there, because people will be talking about him for the next 4 years if he makes it that long. Y'all, I'm about to end the video, but I just wanted to ask, what do you think? Do you think that Steve should just stay in his lane, mind his business, and If he, loves Donald Trump and has some certain affinity for him, let that be his business. But when it comes to other grown people, if they want to say or do or make videos that, you know, for whatever reason, that is their business. And do not come on your show giving advice, especially when just a couple months ago you were on there trying to cry, moaning about how people was doing you so wrong. Do you think that Steve should mind his business, especially after what he went through, or do you think it was right for him to be giving T.I., Bow Wow, and Snoop advice? Leave it down in the comments because, y'all, it's not so much Steve that I'm sick of. It's Donald Trump and his immaturity. And, the fact that he even fucking tweeted Snoop. I couldn't believe it when I saw the president of the fucking United States is on Twitter battling with Snoop, sipping on gin and juice, y'all. What the fuck is the country coming to? This shit is ridiculous. Child, I'm about to get on out of here. Y'all have a good evening. Thanks as always for watching my video. And please put your comments down in the comment section because I want to hear what y'all got to say about old Steve Harvey. Bye now.